evening. I hope everybody is doing good. Tonight we're going to talk about foam rolling. We're actually going to talk a little bit more so about recovery and how foam rolling can help with that and why you actually want to foam roll and roll around on these big rolls of foam. So foam rolling, why is it important? Why do we need to do it? And why is it something to talk about? So we all know how massage works, and we all know that massage feels good for us. Basically, I want you to think about foam rolling as your poor man's massage. This is your way to get those muscles going, to help them feel better, and to recover faster for your next ride, for your next workout, so you can work out and ride in the same day, or even days back to back. And that you might, sometimes we need to push ourselves when we get a little bit sore. Well, what's one thing we can do for ourselves to help that soreness kind of flush through our system a little bit more is foam rolling. Foam rolling helps with breaking down different contractures that we have in the muscle. So if your muscle's been overused, then you actually need to break up those knots. So you can use the foam roller to help release those knots from an overused muscle. So if I need to recover, I need to heal from actually tearing parts of my muscle and that happens when you strengthen, is actually that foam rolling increases that blood flow. It brings more nutrients, or as what I call it, brings the groceries in and it takes out the trash. Nobody's going to heal very well if they can't get good nutrients, and no one's going to heal well if they're not getting the trash taken out. So that's a good way of thinking about increasing your blood flow. So that's basically how the foam roller can help with regards to muscle. Now, I'm also going to delve in just slightly into one of my favorite exercises to use with a foam roller, and that is to use it for the upper back. But we're going to get to that a little bit later, and we're going to go over how it can help with your joints, aka your spine. All right, so Amy wanted me to talk about what type of foam roller that I have. I'm going to kind of show you some different options. So this is a white foam roller. It's the least dense, and it's the one that I personally like to use, because the other ones are a little bit more aggressive. Some of them have the nodules on them. Some of them are like orange and black. And those are a little bit more aggressive for my taste, especially if you're getting into it right now. So in this one is 6 inches in diameter. If you want to link to any of these things that I'm going to go over, just say link like white foam roller, or link to all of them. Just say that you want the links, and I'll post on there some different links that I have. I think that, and Michelle uses hers really. You guys are probably going to use them a little bit more frequently after this. Okay, and then this is 36 inches long. So I like the long ones because I like to lay on them. You don't have to get them, but it's just a personal preference for me, because one of the exercises I really like is laying on them. I also have the poor man's double one, which is 2 tennis balls that are taped together. This is with some fancy tape, but you can tape it together with athletic tape. I also have just the token tennis ball that I like to travel with. And it is very great for using in the car. I keep one in my car actually, just for using on different knots if I'm stuck in traffic. It makes me feel a lot better that I'm actually doing something. These, I call my big black balls. My husband and I have some nice jokes about this whenever I start to use it. But these ones are great, and I'll show you how to use these for your legs and for your calves. They're fantastic. I have my travel size foam roller, so this is what I shove in my suitcase. It's pretty small, but it allows me to travel and to also have my foam roller with me whenever I'm traveling around. So let's get to it. So if you want any of the links to any of these, let me know in the comments. Just say link, and you can comment black balls, you can comment white foam roller, or if you want my opinion on a more dense foam roller, I can give you that as well. Personal preference, I just don't really like it as much. Other people love it, I really like somebody digging into my knots, but I just can't handle it, put all my weight into it. It doesn't give me quite as much benefit. All right, so what muscles do we want to work on whenever we're talking about our legs and our body? Whenever it comes to doing and recovering from a workout and or from riding. So a lot of times you'll be sore in your glutes. For your glutes, I actually like to cross my leg over top. So I'm doing like kind of the man's cross leg sit, and I bring it up, I rock to that side, and then I roll back and forth on it. And there'll be a spot that you're like, ooh, that feels really good. You can hang out there for a little bit. Hover around, you maybe actually feel some knots in there. And also you can rock back a little bit more, and that's where you can get more of the top of your butt. Because you want to focus on both of that. Because your butt, it's a pretty large muscle. At least mine sticks off the edge of my hips fairly decently. And so you want to roll the top and the bottom of it. Okay? Then we all know that we get sore in our quads. This one's one of the easier ones to roll out. You just got to make sure your core stays nice and tight. And you just roll back and forth. Now this gets the front of my quads, and then I rock to the side a little bit to get this side of my quads. Now I'm still in the front of my leg, just a little bit to the side, and then I go to the other one. This is not rolling your IT band, this is rolling your quad, okay? You can also get down pretty close to your kneecap. Just make sure you don't roll your kneecap, it doesn't feel too good, okay? Then also you can bring your leg out to the side. I'm rolling this one right here. See how it's a little bit to the side? I bent my knee just slightly. And I'm rolling more the inside of my quad. This also can get some of your groin muscles through there, and that's also going to be another good group to roll. So we've covered your glutes, we've covered your quads, we've covered a little bit of the inside of your leg. Now we're going to breach into our black balls. So one thing I like to do with these, and you can do this with a regular one too, but if you have any sciatic nerve issues, the black balls are pretty lovely because you're going to roll your hamstrings. However, it separates around your sciatic nerve. You're just going to hover on one side and roll back and forth on it. And it feels pretty lovely, kind of that hurts so good. You'll do that on both sides. Other leg kind of crosses over and you roll back and forth. Now, I also like using these guys for my calf. It hits a little bit of the outside, and then I can rock my leg to the inside or to the outside and get a little bit more of one gastroc head versus another one. So our calf is made up of two different muscles. One is our gastroc, and that's kind of like if you see somebody having like big sexy calves, usually, and there's two like little lumps on the back of their leg, that's their gastroc. Has anybody ever seen those guys? Man, some people have some sexy calves. And then the muscle on the bottom one is your soleus. So you want to make sure that you also hit that soleus, not just the gastroc, but also that lower part of your calf. And this is a little bit more central, and so you can roll it more centrally and or on the outsides of it. Anybody else have anything else that they like to roll? The other one that I like to roll out a little bit is the front parts of my hips. So I use the double tennis ball, and I put it basically in the front part of my hip. I also like to use the big black balls for these too. And it basically, you just seat down into it and you gut and grin a little bit. This you can put just on the inside of your hip if you want to sink down into the stomach, or you place it just below where your femur comes out of your hip, and you'll feel that tendon, and you actually hover a little bit onto that tendon and where it comes out to attach to your femur. You can also, while you're here, you rock to the side. I'll do it this way. You can rock to the side, and that's where you can get what's called your TFL that attaches to your IT band. This is another one, especially for your trailing leg, that's going to be really glorious to roll, especially after a long downhill. And if anybody else knows what I'm talking about, I think Michelle, Deer Lodge, I think that you know how this feels and how lovely it feels for that. So that kind of covers lower body stuff. Now let's breach into our upper body and make sure that nobody has any other questions. Yeah, we're getting there, Kira. We're getting up into the biceps and the neck. So biceps is a little bit funky because it's not really easy to roll. You can't like just take it and roll it. It's almost easier if you just take a tennis ball and you push in with it with the other hand. And make sure it's almost better when you're sitting down because your arm can actually relax and you can press into that guy. I don't tend to get sore with my biceps whenever I'm doing my riding, but I can whenever I'm actually doing some workouts within it. Pecs are another area. This brings us into another way that the foam roller can help us out. Sometimes it's not here, just to roll onto. Sorry if that sounded really loud. That was next to my mic. And it's actually to open yourselves up. So this is one reason why I like the long one, is that I like to lay on it long ways, and then I stretch my arms out. And that opens up my chest and lets my pecs have a stretch. The farther up and out you go, the more stretch you're gonna get for those pec muscles. And it's gonna help you a ton for opening up. Because where are we all day long? We're freaking hunched over. Working on the computer, looking at our phone, working on a desk, and then we go ride our bikes. Where are we? Hunched over again. So opening up through this chest is gonna help our neck. And this kind of moves more into just a specific muscle recovery into a body recovery. Then I like to hug myself like I love myself and raise my hips and I rock back and forth. This gets into my favorite ones, which works your thoracic spine and gets your thoracic spine moving. I don't know if anybody's seen my pink bike article or even one that I did for neck pain in general. Getting your thoracic spine moving is going to help your neck immensely. So you hug yourself like you love yourself, you lift your butt, and you just kind of rock back and forth on it. And that's going to really help open up your upper back. The other way that I like getting my upper back moving, I'll bring back my big black balls, is through laying on these guys, and I support my head, and then I roll back and forth. The key that everybody misses within this is that you want your elbows to come in. If my elbows come out within this, I'm just gonna roll on my shoulder blades. And it doesn't really feel that good, especially in the black balls. But when I have my elbows in, then I roll. It really helps open that up. I can also do that same movement with my foam roller. So elbows in, and then I roll back and forth. You notice that I don't go down past my rib cage. I don't go down into my lower back. As I was mentioning earlier, if you popped on a little later, your low back doesn't have any ribs. And so if you want actually to work on some of the muscles there, I advise you actually doing it on the wall versus putting all your weight through it. So take your tennis balls or your big black balls or your foam roller and you lean against them on the wall and then you roll up and down. This puts less stress through your spine and helps you to move more freely and helps those muscles a little bit more as well. So we've covered a lot. We covered glutes, how to get both the bottom, lower part of the glutes and the upper, how to get your quads, your hamstrings, using these guys and your other foam roller. And then we also covered how to, sorry, my dog just came in, how to do our calves and working a little bit of the outer and inner quad as well. Missed that. We talked about how to do your biceps, how to open your chest up so you stretch your pecs, and how to do my favorite, which is working on this area of our spine, our thoracic spine. Does anybody have any questions? That was a lot. And then we also covered why foam rolling is important. Why do we need to do it? Why is it necessary? And how it helps us. If you are going to go either buy a foam roller, start using your foam roller that was in the corner, I want to know. I want to know if this changed how you're going to look at recovery and how you're going to look at how you can use your foam roller for you to help benefit you in the long run. Thanks, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and have a good evening.